Governor, what questions are asked of you most frequently about the Gray Commission proposals, and what answers do you give?
Well, as I run into people, the first thing they will say when this subject is mentioned, we need information. They will continue by saying that we have not read the Gray report. We did not have an opportunity to hear what was said before the committees, or what was said on the floor of the House or on the Senate when this bill was passed. And they insist that they need more information, which I can readily understand, before intelligently voting on this. So I reply that on Monday, December 12th, a referendum information office was set up in Richmond on a statewide basis for the purpose of furnishing factual information. There's a staff there who are working on replies to questions as they come in daily, or by the hour, whatever time they arrive. What we are trying to do, when I say we, this has become a part of my program because I recommended it to the Assembly of Virginia. The Assembly took it. So it is our program now. So we are trying to furnish information to these people, to say to the voters, to say to them that you are voting for or against a limited constitutional convention to amend Section 141 of the Constitution, which will give the General Assembly the right to amend that section whereby they may restore what it has been doing that we found to be unconstitutional in the last 2 or 3 years, and provide tuition grants for the parents of children who object to sending them to a mixed school.
I believe John Muir has the next question.
Governor, this is one that we have heard propounded a good many times, and it was discussed in the legislature. Do you think that the amending of Section 141 of the state constitution as proposed will in any way affect Section 129 of the Constitution?
No, John, I do not think that the amendment of Section 141 will in any way change or affect Section 129 of the Constitution. As you know, under Section 129, the General Assembly shall establish and maintain an efficient system of public free schools throughout Virginia. And I don't believe that this tuition grant, the reason for which the referendum is called, will in any way affect Section 129.
Governor, opponents contend that the tuition grant plan would endanger public education in Virginia. How do you reply to these opponents?
My reply to this question is that there will be less danger to the public school system if tuition grants are made available, and if they're available to parents who may have the choice of sending their children to an integrated school or taking them out and sending them to a private school.
Well, Governor, you're on record as favoring the highest possible school standards for Virginia. Do you believe it will be possible for the state to maintain acceptable standards in private schools as contemplated in the Gray Commission proposal?
Well, I think that's a good question. And I would like to say that the State Board of Education provides the standards by which our public schools must meet now. And it makes the same standards available to the private schools in Virginia. And I assume and am in fact assured that standards will be provided to any private schools that may be set up in the future.
Mr. Stanley, we know you hope that this referendum will approve the Constitutional Convention and indirectly the amendment to the Constitution. What, on the other hand, do you think will be the result? What would happen if the voters defeat the proposal which is being offered to them in the January 9th referendum?
I feel that if the majority of the voters vote against the calling of the Constitutional Convention, that it will be in fact saying that they want mixed schools. And I might think of it this way: would it not almost be a mandate to the members of the Assembly to take no action on legislation when they meet again?
Now, during the debate in the legislature, it was said, Governor, that the assignment plan alone would take care of Virginia's school segregation problem, and that it should be given a fair trial before amending the Constitution. In our conversation a moment ago, I believe we brought out that North Carolina has taken pretty much that position. What's your reaction?
The assignment plan is desirable, but I cannot say that it will be the solution to this problem. It will work, in my opinion, if both races would fully cooperate. But if not, the tuition grant, in my opinion, is the crux of the effectiveness of the success of the whole overall plan. It's the only plan so far offered to avoid enforced integration in our public schools.
Governor, a good many earnest people are concerned about the possible weakening of the compulsory attendance law. That would be weakened, or at least they say it would be weakened, by the insertion of a provision requiring no child to attend an integrated school. Do you regard this potential weakening as a serious problem?
Well, now first may I preface my remarks there by saying that this is a question that is not affected by the amending of Section 141 of the Constitution. The Constitution now provides that the General Assembly may make such laws as they deem necessary with reference to the compulsory education. I can visualize that there might be some attempt made at taking a child here and there out of school, but I do not believe that it would seriously affect the attendance of children in our private or public schools.
Getting at the overall purposes of the Gray Commission proposals and the purposes of your administration in recommending them, what are those purposes, Governor Stanley?
Well,
This one might seem to be putting you on the spot, and frankly, we think maybe it is. I'm going to ask you whether it will be your intention as governor, if the Gray Commission plan is adopted, to see that educational opportunities are provided for all children, black and white, in Virginia.
Well, John, I don't feel that you're putting me on the spot there at all. In my recommendation to the General Assembly and its regular session, 1956, I shall recommend from the funds of the Commonwealth sufficient amount to continue our public school system throughout Virginia, as we have in the past. In fact, I can give you a little advance information that we are offering, I believe, the best program for public school education that has ever been offered in Virginia before. So it is my program not to cripple the public school system in any way, but I am assuming that we're going to get good cooperation and I hope in every instance, continue our public schools. But if there should be an instance, well, it is determined by locality not to continue public schools there, why then we have this other provision, and I am of the firm conviction that there will be a limited number of such cases. Do you know, we cannot overlook the fact, however, that in certain sections of Virginia, we may look for a considerable number of private schools or withdrawing from the public school system if the situation is not dealt with as we hope it will through this meeting.
Well, thank you very much, Governor Stanley and John Ure, for being with us on this session of Virginia's Dilemma, and we invite you to be back with us at the same time when we're here again on a Saturday evening at 7 o'clock.